It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Power begins in the mind long before it reaches the room. When you step into any arena, your workplace, your relationships, your social spaces, people read you like a battlefield map, scanning for weakness, hesitation, or hidden strength. If you drift in without command of yourself, you hand them your position, your weapons, and your leverage. If you arrive as a disciplined commander, you project an energy that closes the door to casual disrespect. Think of your untrained mind as a restless army, spilling out of formation, vulnerable to ambush by distraction, doubt, and other people's agendas. Your first task is to bring that army under control. Call it the throne of the self. Command it or be ruled by it. Begin by shaping appearances deliberately. Machiavelli wrote that appearances shape authority more than any other factor. Modern leadership research agrees. Posture, tone, and micro-expression broadcast your power faster than words. You do not need to shout or dominate. You need to embody calm authority. Picture a senior executive who walks into a meeting without saying a word, but directs the tone of the entire table simply by how they sit, hold their gaze, and time their speech. Their aura of composure disarms aggressors before any clash begins. Your second move is to neutralize your own urge to over-explain. In many cases, silence is a blade. When challenged, resist the reflex to fill the space. A quiet, steady pause forces others to confront their own words and signals that you are in control of the tempo. Weak. I'm sorry, maybe I'm wrong. Strong. Here is my position. Weak. Rushing to justify. Strong. Letting the room adjust to your frame. Practice the discipline of measured response. Your third move is to visualize yourself entering a hostile court. You are not prey arriving at a feast. You are a sovereign walking through a corridor of noise. Hold your spine straight, your breathing slow, your eyes steady. People feel the difference between an intruder seeking approval and a commander whose respect is self-issued first. Each breath is a step across the marble floor. Each silence is a drawn bow. Drill these practices until they become reflex. Command your posture, tighten your language, control the space between stimulus and response. Treat each interaction as a test of formation. When your inner army holds the line, the outer world senses it and falls into formation around you. The cost of neglecting this is continued invisibility. The reward is immediate respect earned without a single raised voice. Power starts where self-command begins. The mind is a throne, and every thought, impulse, and emotion kneels before it, whether you notice or not. When the throne stands vacant, when discipline is absent, lesser forces seize it. Doubt becomes a false minister whispering hesitation. Fear becomes a scheming courtier plotting betrayal. Desire becomes an impatient rebel demanding indulgence. But when you seize the throne with authority, everything changes. You become the ruler of your inner kingdom. And respect begins here before it can ever be commanded outside. History shows this clearly. Marcus Aurelius, facing both war and plague, rehearsed in his journal every morning how he would meet insults with patience and temptation with restraint. Napoleon, known for his fiery battlefield brilliance, practiced mental drills to steady his nerves before decisive clashes. These leaders understood that power is first a rehearsal in the private court of the mind. Appearances may shape how others judge you, but appearance without inner order collapses when tested. Discipline gives the mask its strength. Modern neuroscience reinforces what these rulers intuited. Studies on self-regulation show that when you train yourself to pause before reacting, you project greater confidence and stability. People unconsciously trust leaders who appear unshaken under pressure, the ability to regulate your impulses, holding a silence, maintaining a steady gaze, keeping your tone measured, sends signals of dominance that others register instinctively. Your nervous system becomes a fortress wall. If it holds, no attack penetrates. If it falters, even the smallest challenge undermines you. Picture your thoughts as a crowded throne room. Some are loyal advisors, offering measured counsel. Others are treacherous courtiers, whispering fear, jealousy, or impatience. A sovereign does not indulge every voice. A sovereign listens, weighs, and then commands. You must rule this court firmly. Dismiss thoughts that weaken your position. Elevate those that fortify your resolve. Do not allow the schemers of doubt or the flatterers of ease to sit too close to your throne. In practice, this means building small but unbreakable rituals. Before you enter a difficult meeting, pause to align your breathing. Before responding to provocation, take the silence as a tactical beat. When you feel an impulse rising, imagine it as a noisy courtier begging for your attention. Grant no instant approval. Rule with deliberation. Weak, I can't help it. I just react. Strong, I choose when and how to respond. Weak, I hope they respect me. Strong, I hold respect by commanding myself. Consider a moment of disagreement. Someone dismisses your contribution in front of others. The untrained mind lashes out or retreats into silence. The trained mind sits upright, breath steady, voice even. You do not trade blows on their terms. You anchor the room on yours. The court of your mind remains in formation. And because of that, the external court bends toward you. Claim your inner throne with consistency. Discipline your courtiers. Train your impulses as soldiers, not rioters. Every act of inner sovereignty broadcasts authority to the outer world. Respect follows those who first respect themselves. Rule the mind, and the world bows. Morning is the battlefield where victories are secured or lost before the day even begins. The way you rise, the way you marshal your time, the way you deploy your attention, all of it decides whether you command the hours ahead or stumble through them as a conscript in someone else's army. To begin like a commander, you must treat the first hours of your day as the critical deployment of troops. Every action either tightens your formation or leaves a flank exposed. History offers examples of leaders who understood this. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings with reflection, preparing his mind for insult, hardship, and temptation before they arrived. His ritual was not luxury, it was armor. In modern times, you see CEOs and military leaders who guard their mornings with routines that stabilize their focus. Exercise, journaling, strategic planning. The pattern is clear. Commanders do not surrender their first hours to chance. They impose order on themselves before the world can impose disorder on them. In practical terms, your morning is the time to set formations. Think of your tasks as units of an army. Some require heavy cavalry, deep, concentrated focus. Others demand light skirmishes, quick responses, and minor duties. Time blocking is your tactical map. Assign your high-value work to the morning's strongest energy. Defend it fiercely. Delay trivial distractions until later when you can afford to spend less troops. If you fail to command this deployment, every demand from outside forces you into reactive retreat. Visualize your alarm as the war drum. It is not a suggestion, it is the signal that the army must rise. How you respond to that signal sets the tone for the campaign. If you hit the snooze button, you teach yourself disobedience. If you rise and move with intention, you teach yourself sovereignty. Every small action compounds into authority. Even something as simple as making your bed is less about tidiness and more about signaling to your mind that order rules this kingdom. There will be resistance. You will face mornings when fatigue argues like a deceitful courtier. Weak, I'll start later when I feel ready. Strong, I begin now and readiness will follow. Weak, the day is already overwhelming. Strong, I divide and conquer. These swaps of language are not semantics, they are commands issued from the throne. They turn chaos into obedience. Consider the test of unexpected disruption. A colleague messages you early, demanding immediate attention. The untrained mind abandons its plan and rushes to serve. The disciplined commander notes the intrusion, assesses the terrain, and responds on schedule, not in panic. Respect grows from this kind of steadiness. People sense when your time is fortified, and they adjust their approach accordingly. Treat your mornings as a campaign you cannot afford to lose. Rise to the drum. Deploy your hours with precision. Guard your strongest forces for your most decisive battles. If you fail here, the rest of the day is damage control. If you win here, the day bends to your will. Command the morning, and you command the day. Silence is not absence. It is a weapon sharpened in secrecy and drawn when the moment demands precision. Machiavelli warned that rulers who speak carelessly reveal their weakness, while those who restrain their tongue keep control of both friends and enemies. In politics and in life, words are arrows once lost. Silence is the hand that chooses whether to draw the bow. Stillness, when mastered, turns you from participant to commander. Modern research on negotiation confirms what statesmen always knew. Silence unsettles. In many studies, the side willing to hold the pause often secures the better outcome. People rush to fill empty space with concessions, explanations, or nervous chatter. If you can resist that urge, you force others to reveal their positions while you conserve your strength. Think of it as controlling the tempo of battle. The one who dictates the rhythm controls the fight. A well-timed pause can do more to assert dominance than a flood of arguments. Visualize an arena. Two adversaries circle, one shouting, gesturing, swinging wildly. The other waits in composed silence, eyes steady, breathing calm. Who commands the audience's respect? Who appears more dangerous? Stillness is not submission. It is the predator crouched before the strike, the general who holds his reserves until the decisive moment. When you choose not to respond instantly, you signal that you are not reacting, you are calculating. This distinction marks the difference between those who are manipulated and those who dictate terms. In daily practice, silence is your blade when faced with provocation. Imagine a colleague dismisses your idea in front of others. The weak response is to defend yourself instantly, spilling words and energy in an attempt to win back ground. The strong response is to pause, let the room feel the weight of your stillness, and then speak with concise precision. Weak, I don't think that's fair. Maybe we should. Strong, here is why this approach works. One cuts through noise, the other drowns in it. There is discipline in silence. Do not confuse it with passivity. Passivity leaves the field unattended. Strategic silence is active control. It allows you to observe details others overlook. Tone shifts, hidden alliances, hesitation in their arguments. When you are still, you see the battlefield clearly. When you rush, you miss the traps. Use silence to reset the balance in conflicts. In moments of rising tension, your calm demeanor becomes a shield. You will find people recalibrating their tone because your lack of reaction denies them the emotional fuel they seek. This is how stillness turns confrontations into opportunities. You do not wrestle in the mud. You remain on the throne, making others climb to meet your level. Make this practical. Begin training by counting 3 full breaths before answering questions in tense settings. Hold eye contact without breaking. Resist the reflex to explain everything. Let silence carve the path. Over time, you will notice that people lean into your pauses, awaiting your words with more weight than before. Respect attaches itself to the one who controls the rhythm. Stillness is a choice. It is the art of unsheathing a blade without swinging it. Those who master it rarely need to raise their voice. Those who fail to learn it are forever outmaneuvered by their own impatience. In every encounter, treat silence as part of your arsenal, not a gap to be filled. Silence cuts deeper than noise. Power is not built by addition alone. It is secured through subtraction, by cutting away what weakens the structure before it collapses under its own weight. To project authority, you must clear the field, remove distractions, sever toxic ties, and silence internal saboteurs. This is not cruelty, it is a strategy. A commander who marches with divided forces invites defeat. History makes the lesson clear. Kings who tolerated disloyal courtiers fell by betrayal. Rulers who delayed in removing conspirators found daggers waiting at their tables. Machiavelli noted that hesitation in dealing with threats only emboldens them. Those who ruled longest were often those who eliminated weak or treacherous elements without delay. Ruthless clarity preserved their strength. The same principle applies to you. Anything disloyal to your purpose, whether a person or a habit, must be dismissed before it undermines your command. Modern psychology supports this strategy. Studies on cognitive load show that the mind has finite capacity. Each unresolved conflict, each unnecessary commitment, each toxic tie drains attention. This is energy theft. When your focus is divided, your authority fragments. Respect does not flow to the scattered. It flows to those who stand firm, clear, and undistracted. Eliminating draining inputs, whether endless notifications, gossiping peers, or self-defeating patterns, frees the mental bandwidth that commands respect. Simplicity in your environment is not minimalism for comfort, it is tactical design for strength. Visualize your life as a fortress. On the walls, spies lurk, waiting to signal the enemy. Inside, some servants steal supplies, while others quietly sabotage gates. If you prepare for battle without clearing them out, you fight at a disadvantage before the enemy even arrives. Every toxic tie is a spy. Every distraction is a thief. Every indulgent weakness is a saboteur. To lead, you must purge your fortress. This clearing is not glamorous, but it is decisive. Weak. I can't cut them out. It would be too harsh. Strong. I must secure the walls before war begins. Weak. I'll keep everything and try harder. Strong. I choose what strengthens me, and I discard what does not. This is the discipline of elimination. It is not about punishing others. It is about refusing to negotiate with what undermines you. Consider a moment of disagreement. A colleague pushes gossip into your workspace, wasting time and energy. The undisciplined response is to entertain it, hoping to maintain social ease. The disciplined response is to redirect calmly. Let's stay focused. You do not attack. You do not justify. You simply eliminate the weakness from the field. That single act raises your respect in the eyes of everyone present. They see you guard your walls without noise. Train yourself to view every tie, habit, and input through the lens of loyalty. Ask, does this strengthen my command, or does it weaken it? If it weakens, it must go. If it drains, it must be sealed. Respect flows to the sovereign who tolerates no treachery within. By clearing the field of weakness, you create an environment where your authority stands uncontested, your focus razor sharp, your fortress unbreached. Cut weakness before it cuts you. Appearances are armor. and the mask you wear determines how others position themselves around you. Machiavelli taught that rulers must seem virtuous even if, behind the mask, they act with calculation. Reality matters less than perception when commanding respect. Power projects outward first through the image you craft. If you appear weak, your strength is doubted. If you appear certain even before speaking, others yield ground. The mask is not deception, it is a strategic presentation, the helmet that guards your authority. Modern research on body language proves how this works. People read non-verbal signals faster than words. A straight spine, deliberate gestures, and steady eye contact register as dominance and reliability. In contrast, fidgeting, slouched posture, or rushed speech signal doubt. You have seen it in a room. One person walks in with presence and attention gravitates to them without a word spoken. Another arrives scattered, and their voice carries less weight even if their ideas are strong. Authority is not only what you say, it is what you signal before you speak. Imagine yourself donning an impenetrable helmet before stepping into any court, your workplace, your negotiation, your social arena. That helmet is composed of posture, composure, tone, and discipline. When you put it on, attacks glance off. Criticism does not penetrate. You are no longer bare and vulnerable. You are armored by appearance. This is not about vanity, it is about survival, in a world where perception shapes opportunity. Weak, I hope they notice me. Strong, I command attention. Weak, I'll speak and then prove my worth. Strong, my presence proves it before my words arrive. These are shifts of identity. When you act as if you already carry the crown, others treat you as if you do. The mask of command becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You project authority, and authority returns amplified. Consider a micro-example of disagreement. A colleague challenges your decision in front of others. The untrained response is defensive words and anxious tones. The disciplined mask is a pause, a calm acknowledgement, and a concise reply delivered without a raised voice. The mask shields you, turning potential embarrassment into reinforced stature. People in the room notice who lost composure and who maintained control. Respect always flows toward composure. Crafting the mask of command is daily practice. Stand tall even when unseen. Speak less but with precision. Slow your movements so they convey deliberation. Maintain steady eye contact as if surveying a field you already own. Each signal adds to the aura. Each disciplined choice polishes the armor. When you step into the arena without this mask, you fight unarmored, vulnerable to perception's daggers. When you step in armored, you radiate a power that compels alignment before conflict even begins. The world bends to the one who appears certain. Wear the mask, command the court. Every empire is brought down from within long before enemies break its gates. Power is not lost in one sweeping blow, but through small betrayals tolerated too long. Weak habits are those traitors, smiling at your table while sharpening daggers in the dark. If you fail to root them out, they will undo you at the moment of greatest pressure. To remain sovereign, you must summon an inner assassin and send it to eliminate those patterns before they strike. History offers brutal examples. Many rulers who conquered nations could not conquer themselves. Roman emperors undone by indulgence of pleasure, kings bankrupted by their inability to restrain extravagance, generals who won battles but lost their discipline to drink or vanity. Their thrones toppled not from invasion but from rot inside. Machiavelli warned that men often ruin themselves more quickly through excess than through caution. The empire within is the first to defend. Modern behavioral psychology points to the same truth. Habits create grooves in the brain that determine action without thought. Weak patterns, procrastination, constant distraction, indulgence, slowly take command if left unchallenged. Yet, the science also shows that habits can be extinguished. Replace the trigger, change the environment, and reinforce the new action until the old pathway weakens. Elimination is not about sheer willpower alone. It is about designing conditions that leave sabotage with nowhere to hide. Picture your mind as a citadel at night. Inside, a shadow moves, the saboteur habit that has betrayed you before. Perhaps it is the constant reach for the phone when focus is needed, or the comfort excuse that delays decisive work. Your inner assassin waits in silence. It does not argue, it acts. It identifies the weakness and strikes it down before dawn. Each time you refuse the old pattern, you execute another traitor. Each time you reinforce discipline, you fortify the gates. Weak. This is just who I am. Strong. I decide which habits live and which die. Weak. I'll stop someday. Strong. The execution is today. Your language reveals whether you are sovereign or captive. Speak commands, not excuses. Consider a moment of interaction. A peer invites you to waste an evening in fruitless distraction when you know urgent preparation is due. The untrained response is to agree, driven by the habit of avoidance. The disciplined response is to decline calmly. I have work to complete. No apology, no hesitation. You send the assassin to strike down the weakness in real time, preserving your authority. Command your assassin daily. Identify the one habit that betrays you most often. Isolate it. Replace it with a ritual that strengthens you. Guard your routines as if guarding the throne itself. Each eliminated weakness expands the field where your strength can advance. Destroy the traitor before it destroys you. You are predator and prey at the same time. Inside you, a wolf waits. Sometimes starved, sometimes restless, sometimes sharp and ready. Power grows when you feed this wolf, with drives that sharpen your edge, not dull it. Neglect it, and you become prey to your own passivity. Train it, and you walk through the world with a force that others sense before you speak. Machiavelli understood that aggression, when controlled, is not a flaw, but a resource. He noted that rulers who relied only on caution often lost what they had gained, while those willing to act decisively in the right moment secured their states. The principle holds today. Power is not maintained by endless restraint, but by precise, directed bursts of will. Controlled aggression, channeling urgency into decisive action, is what separates leaders from those who wait for permission. The wolf does not hunt by hesitation, it strikes with timing. Modern performance science shows how this controlled aggression translates into achievement. Studies on flow states reveal that when challenge meets skill, the brain enters a heightened rhythm where focus deepens, action feels effortless, and energy multiplies. Intrinsic drive, the inner fire that pushes you forward without external reward, is what fuels this state. You feed the wolf when you align your work with that inner drive, when you choose pursuits that demand your best effort and return growth. Each time you engage with deliberate focus, you reinforce the cycle of energy. Each time you surrender to distraction, you starve it. Picture this clearly. In the forest of your life, two versions of the wolf exist. One grows fat on easy comforts, scrolling endlessly, indulging excuses, seeking validation. The other sharpens its teeth on challenge, discipline, and creation. The stronger wolf dominates your instincts. The question is not whether you have strength, it is which wolf you feed daily. Every choice is a piece of meat thrown to one or the other. Weak. I'll wait until motivation strikes. Strong. I act, and motivation follows. Weak. I need to feel ready first. Strong, readiness is built in the hunt. These are not just phrases, but commands. Each word feeds or starves the wolf. Language shapes the diet of your inner predator. Consider a disagreement at work. Someone dismisses your proposal casually. The prey instinct is to withdraw and lick wounds. The predator instinct, when disciplined, is to remain calm, reframe the proposal with clarity, and strike with precision. You don't lash out, you redirect focus to the strength of your argument. The wolf does not bark at every noise, it waits, then takes the throat. To cultivate this drive, set rituals that demand energy. Begin with physical exertion to prime aggression in controlled form. Use time blocks to channel energy into meaningful work. Create challenges that stretch your capacity. Avoid the comfort traps that drain vitality without return. Feeding the wolf is not about frenzy, it is about steady, deliberate training of instinct toward power. If you fail to feed the right wolf, your edge dulls. If you cultivate it daily, you build an aura that commands attention. Others sense, when a person walks with disciplined hunger, they see it in posture, hear it in tone, and feel it in the way silence carries weight. The wolf within does not beg. It hunts, and because it hunts, it commands respect. Feed the right wolf, and power follows. Life is a chessboard, and every person you meet is moving pieces, whether you notice or not. Some play loudly, showing their intentions in every word. Others play quietly, planning 3 moves ahead, waiting for you to misstep. Power comes to those who recognize the board, anticipate the moves, and force outcomes rather than merely reacting to them. History proves that the masters of power always thought in terms of position and sequence. Otto von Bismarck unified Germany not by brute force alone, but by manipulating alliances like chess pieces, setting traps so his opponents would exhaust themselves. Napoleon understood that a battle was often won before the first shot because he had already maneuvered his forces into decisive positions. These men did not wait for luck. They arranged the board so that luck had little room to interfere. The lesson is simple. If you fail to see the game, you become a pawn in someone else's strategy. In the modern world, strategy takes form through scenario planning and risk analysis. Corporations and governments often run simulations, testing how competitors or crises might unfold. They map possibilities and prepare responses in advance. You can adopt the same principle in your life. Anticipate the likely moves of others, colleagues seeking credit, rivals angling for advantage, even friends who may unknowingly divert your focus. By preparing options before these moments occur, you stand ready to respond with calm authority instead of being forced into reaction. The commander who knows the terrain before the battle has already secured half the victory. Now visualize your daily choices as pieces sliding across the board. Each decision, what you say, what you ignore, where you invest time, moves you closer to checkmate or exposes you to traps. The pawn you sacrifice today might open the path for tomorrow's decisive strike. The rook you guard might represent a core discipline you refuse to compromise. The queen's sweeping power could be your reputation, powerful but vulnerable if misplaced. When you think in terms of the board, every move becomes intentional. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is left to chance. Consider a moment of disagreement. In a meeting, someone tries to corner you with a question designed to embarrass you. The impulsive reaction is to defend yourself with frantic detail. The strategic response is to pause, redirect, and reposition the conversation. Weak. I don't know, maybe you're right. Strong. That's one perspective, but here's the larger strategy. By reframing, you move the piece they never saw, turning their attack into your advantage. To live strategically, discipline yourself to see patterns. Map the players around you. Identify their tendencies, their habits, their blind spots. Recognize which alliances strengthen your position and which drain it. Ask yourself daily, what move did I make today, and what move will it force tomorrow? Power accumulates not from random bursts of effort, but from steady positioning. If you ignore the board, you remain a piece pushed by others' hands. If you claim the board, you become the one who shapes outcomes. Respect is not granted to those who drift across squares without plan. It is granted to those who stand as players, orchestrating movement, building traps, and guiding the end game with clarity. See the board, and you will never be played. The solution is steel. Without it, every tactic bends and breaks under pressure. Strategy, image, and discipline collapse if the will behind them falters. To command respect and build power that endures, you must forge yourself like a sword, tempered in fire and unyielding in battle. Will is not inherited. It is trained through ritual. History shows how civilizations understood this truth. The Spartans built their society on training that hardened body and mind from youth, exposing themselves to cold, hunger, and pain so that no battlefield could surprise them. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus taught similar lessons in a different form, rehearsing hardship in thought and practice. They deliberately walked through discomfort to remind themselves that comfort is fragile and that strength lies in endurance. These rituals were not punishment, they were preparation, a deliberate forging of the will so that when life tested them, they did not break. Modern psychology echoes these ancient lessons. Research on grit and resilience shows that success is rarely determined by talent alone. It belongs to those who persist through setbacks, adapt under strain, and return again when others withdraw. Neural pathways strengthen through repeated acts of perseverance, just as muscles strengthen under resistance. The more often you practice discipline, rising early, finishing what you begin, enduring temporary discomfort, the more resilient your mind becomes. Endurance is not only physical, it is a psychological resource that grows with training. Now visualize yourself as a blade in the forge. Each difficulty you face is fire heating the metal. Each deliberate act of discipline, choosing the harder option, saying no to indulgence, holding silence when provoked, is the hammer striking steel. The repeated cycle of fire and hammer does not weaken, it strengthens. Without the fire, the blade remains soft. Without the strikes, the blade remains unshaped. Rituals are the blows that give form to your character, each one creating an edge that cannot be dulled easily. Weak. This is too much, I need comfort. Strong. This is forging me, I endure. Weak. I can't handle setbacks. Strong. Setbacks sharpen my edge. The shift is more than words. It is the posture of a sovereign who understands that difficulty is not an interruption, but the training ground itself. Imagine facing a challenge at work, where your plan is delayed by unforeseen obstacles. The ordinary response is frustration and withdrawal. The disciplined response is recalibration, adjusting the strategy while holding firm to the objective. You do not abandon the campaign because the terrain changed. You march until the goal is secured. That steadiness becomes your reputation. Others learn that your word and your will are not fragile. To build this iron will, create rituals that demand endurance. Rise and train your body, even when tired. Dedicate focused hours to work without distraction. Commit to small hardships, voluntarily, so that larger ones do not shake you. These acts need not be dramatic. Their power comes from repetition. Each completed ritual is a hammer strike, each moment of endurance a layer of tempered steel. Over time, you become someone who does not bend under pressure, but grows sharper with it. When you walk into any arena with such resolve, people feel it. They see it in your posture, hear it in your tone, and sense it in your refusal to waver. Respect attaches itself to the one who does not collapse when tested. Power flows to the will that endures. Forge yourself, and nothing can break you. The apex of power is untouchability. This is not isolation from the world, but sovereignty within it, a position so fortified that no one can easily manipulate or diminish you. Respect solidifies when others realize you cannot be swayed by flattery, provoked by insult, or undone by schemes. To reach this state, you combine every law you have practiced, discipline, silence, strategy, endurance, into one fortress of presence. Machiavelli advised rulers to secure strong positions that could withstand both fortune and hostility. A prince who relies on others is vulnerable, but one who builds self-reliance commands stability. Fortification in his time meant stone walls and loyal garrisons. For you, it means principles that hold even under pressure. If your habits, rituals, and mindset are not fortified, enemies need not attack directly. They simply wait for you to collapse from within. Sovereignty comes from building a foundation so steady that opportunists retreat before wasting their strength. Modern figures who carry untouchable reputations reflect this principle. Some leaders, whether in politics, business, or culture, withstand constant criticism and rivalry, yet they remain unmoved because their value is not tied to approval. They operate from clarity of purpose and disciplined routines, not from chasing favor. Their reputations are less about charm and more about consistency. When people know you will not bend to gossip, panic, or short-term temptation, they begin to treat you as a citadel, difficult to breach, dangerous to oppose, worth aligning with. Picture yourself standing on the battlements of such a citadel. Below, enemies gather, whispering, plotting, launching small arrows, yet none reach you. The walls are too high, the gates too strong, the guards too loyal. Inside, you continue your command without interruption. This is what it means to be untouchable. The noise exists, but it cannot reach your core. People eventually stop attacking, not because they lack malice, but because they see futility. Your stability outlasts their volatility. In practice, this means mastering detachment from external storms. Weak: I need everyone's approval to feel secure. Strong: my strength comes from my discipline, not their opinion. Weak: if attacked, I must defend endlessly. Strong: if fortified, I let attacks waste themselves. This is not arrogance. It is calculated restraint. You select your battles, never fighting on every front, conserving strength for decisive engagements. Consider a workplace moment. A rival spreads subtle rumors to weaken your standing. The reactive path is to scramble in defense, explaining yourself to everyone. The untouchable path is to remain calm, continue delivering results, and let consistency expose falsehood. Over time, those who listen to rumors recognize the difference between noise and reality. Your power grows precisely because you refuse to be dragged into petty warfare. To become untouchable, fuse all prior disciplines. Guard your mind like a throne. Command your mornings as a battlefield. Wield silence as a blade. Eliminate weakness before it undermines you. Feed your drives with purpose. Play life as chess, not dice. Forge your will in fire until it cannot be bent. Each law is a stone in your fortress, each practice a wall against intrusion. Together, they form sovereignty. When you walk with this composure, people sense it immediately. They may admire you, fear you, or envy you, but they all recognize one truth: you cannot be easily moved. This aura commands respect without demand. Stand as a citadel, and no force will shake you. Power reaches its final form, not in constant battle, but in the coronation of the self. Every law you have practiced, commanding the mind, seizing the morning, wielding silence, cutting weakness, crafting image, executing discipline, feeding drive, playing strategy, forging will, converges into one transformation. You rise from a besieged leader, forever reacting to a sovereign emperor of your own narrative. In this moment, respect flows to you without demand, because you have become untouchable. Machiavelli wrote of the prince who must rely on his own arms and not the arms of others. Self-reliance, in his eyes, was the foundation of rule. Leaders who depended on allies, mercenaries, or shifting fortunes eventually fell. Those who fortified themselves, who trusted in their own discipline, endured. Across history, the pattern repeats. Statesmen like Bismarck, who united Germany through a mixture of calculation and iron resolve, built positions that made them difficult to dislodge. Commanders like Napoleon, even when outnumbered, imposed their will on the battlefield by clarity of vision. The archetype is consistent. Sovereignty belongs to the one who consolidates inner and outer power until no adversary can easily shake it. In our time, the lesson still holds. Consider the leaders who rebuilt their reputations after collapse. Modern CEOs, political figures, and cultural icons have emerged stronger precisely because they disciplined perception. They did not beg for forgiveness endlessly, nor did they surrender to shame. They controlled the narrative by controlling themselves, through consistency of action, through measured silence, through reappearing with clarity. They restored respect. Their sovereignty was not in avoiding mistakes, but in rising above them, projecting a stability others could not ignore. Respect today flows to those who command their image as carefully as their strategy, balancing humility with presence, silence with decisive action. Now visualize your own coronation. The hall is war-torn, the banners of your past failures shredded, the floor littered with the echoes of your old hesitations. Yet the throne stands ready. You walk through the chamber, not hurried, not boastful, but steady. The courtiers, your thoughts, your habits, your impulses fall silent. They know who rules now. You take the crown, not from another's hand, but from the altar of your own discipline, and place it on your head. The act is not symbolic. It is the culmination of thousands of small victories, rising when you wished to stay down, choosing focus when distraction tempted you, holding silence when anger pushed you to speak, eliminating weakness when comfort begged for indulgence. Each ritual was a stone laid together. They have built your throne. In practical terms, this coronation is what life looks like when power and respect become natural extensions of your discipline. You enter a meeting, and without speaking, the room adjusts. You refuse to chase validation, and instead others chase your acknowledgement. You decline to fight every petty battle, and suddenly the noise no longer dares approach you. You radiate stability because your fortress is not made of walls alone, but of self-command. This is not arrogance, it is sovereignty earned. There will always be rivals, critics, and those who resent your rise. Yet sovereignty means they can no longer touch your core. Weak. I hope they like me. Strong. I respect myself and they will adjust. Weak. I must prove them wrong. Strong. My results speak without argument. The crown does not silence enemies. It makes them irrelevant. They may continue to shout, but their words echo in the empty valley outside your walls. Think of one moment of challenge. A colleague interrupts you in public, trying to strip your authority. The reactive self would scramble, over-explain, or lash back. The sovereign self pauses, regards them with calm, and redirects the conversation without raising the voice. You do not descend into their chaos. Instead, you hold your ground, as if standing on stone. Others in the room register the difference instantly. They know who commands the hall. This is what it means to be crowned, to no longer be pulled from the throne by every hand that reaches. Your coronation is not a single day. It is the steady accumulation of rituals until one morning you notice the shift. The world no longer pushes you as before. People begin to defer naturally, not because you asked, not because you demanded, but because your aura tells them you cannot be bent. That aura is power, that aura is respect, and it is built, not given. You have walked through each battlefield, the mind, the morning, the silence, the clearing, the mask, the assassin, the wolf, the chessboard, the forge, the fortress. Each one was a campaign, each one added a jewel to your crown. Now they converge. You are no longer the soldier scrambling for footing. You are the sovereign directing the campaign, and when you leave the hall, crown on your head, the world outside feels it. Enemies retreat, allies lean in, the air shifts. The coronation of the self is the point where your presence commands before your words ever do. It is the transformation from hunted to hunter, from pawn to player, from claimant to king. You are no longer at the mercy of the world's movements. You are the one who shapes them. Crown yourself, or remain uncrowned forever. Power begins with self-command, and every law you have studied leads back to this throne. You have seen how the mind must be ruled as a kingdom, how mornings are battles that set the campaign, how silence can cut like a blade, and how weakness must be eliminated before it betrays you. You have learned the necessity of the mask, the role of the inner assassin, the hunger of the wolf, the patterns of the chessboard, the forging of will, and the final ascent into untouchability. These 10 principles are not abstract lessons. They are weapons and armor, forged to be carried into the world. Now comes the choice. You cannot wield all 10 at once in their full power today, but you can adopt one discipline immediately. Choose a ritual, small yet decisive, and claim it as yours. It might be digital silence. Cut the constant noise of notifications and reclaim your focus. It might be a morning strategy. Plan your first hours with precision so the day bends to your command. It might be the mask of command. Straighten your posture, refine your tone, and project authority before speaking. Each of these is a single step, but each step shifts your aura. The world senses when you begin to rule yourself, even in small acts. Picture yourself leaving your fortress at dawn. The gates open, the banner of your reputation unfurls high above. It does not matter if enemies linger at the edge of the field, or if rivals whisper in the shadows. The banner tells the truth. A sovereign walks out today. Each step forward signals discipline, composure, and strength. People around you adjust instinctively. They respect the one who commands himself first. Weak. I'll start when I feel ready. Strong. I begin now, readiness will follow. Weak. I hope for respect. Strong. I command respect by the way I hold myself. This shift in language reflects the shift in power. You are no longer waiting to be crowned by others. You are issuing the command from your own throne. Do not delay. Select one ritual and make it non-negotiable. Enforce it with the seriousness of a general defending the gate. Build upon it tomorrow and the day after, until the fortress of your sovereignty stands firm. Respect is not requested. It is radiated. Power is not given. It is built. Command yourself, and the world will follow.